Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the BritWres Roundtable here on Voices of Wrestling. It is time for the third annual Euro Draft, and I am very, very excited. I'm Oliver Court. I'm here with Arn Furious as always.
Hello.
Arn. Rob is not here. He's had to do something else, but he has very kindly provided all the spreadsheets we need to do this, and we have 3 guests. We haven't had a guest in ages, and then 3 turn up at once, all of whom I'm very excited to introduce. We have 2 Voices of Wrestling contributors. We have Lee Malone. Hello, Lee.
Hello, thanks for having me.
And we have Andrew Sinclair.
Hello.
Andrew.
Hello, everyone.
And on top of the Voices of Wrestling guys here, we also have Mr. Eurograps himself. It is Mike Kilby.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. It's a dream come true to be on this show.
You've been on it like 3 times already.
Well, yeah, I've only been on the Carrot specials. This is the first time sitting in my own house doing this, I suppose.
So it's a pleasure to have all of you guys here. Do you have any previous drafting experience, or will this be your first time, so to speak?
There was a few times on Rock Bottom Radio we did... well, no, not a few times. We did it once. We did a... admittedly, this is when Rock Bottom Radio was kind of more of a WWE sort of what's going on on TV sort of show, and we did. It was me and Elle, so Specfic Lucadjoro on Twitter. We both teamed up against Laura and Jeffrey, who was sort of the other 2 people, and we did a WWE draft, which was quite exciting. So that's the only thing we've done, and obviously we had the best team, but that's my only experience really.
Lee and Andrew, anything to go by?
No, I have no draft experience. I do love a draft, but no, I've never done one before.
This is definitely my first rodeo, so let's go.
We're not American, so our American listeners will presumably have done a million yeehaw sports drafts. But anyway, since Rob is not here, I will have to take up the task of convolutedly explaining all the rules we will be abiding by this evening. We have 5 people, and we will all be drafting a single wrestler in each round. We'll have 5 picks in each round, and it will be a snaking draft, so the person who is picking first, which this year is me, which I'm very excited by, will pick last in round 2, and then I'll pick first in round 3 and last in round 4, and it will snake that way. There'll be 16 rounds to pick from male wrestlers, 4 to pick from female wrestlers. We're gonna go a block of 4 for the men to start off, then a block of 2 for the women, and then a block of 6 for the men, a block of 2 for the women, and then another block of 6 guys. And that will bring our total rosters to 20. After the draft is over, we'll all compile cards from the 20 wrestlers that we picked and make something fun, I presume. And that will all be posted on the Voices of Wrestling forums, where we'll do like a preliminary vote to eliminate one person, and that will be a very shameful thing to happen to them. And then the last 4 will go to a Twitter poll, opening it up to the whole of Twitter to judge us and find a winner.
This is entirely Twitter's fault for only having 4 options in its polls.
It is very, very silly, I do agree. So basically, Rob won in 2016, Arn won in 2017.
Yes.
Who is going to win in 2018? Will Arn be able to be a repeat winner? Let's find out. Anything on the rules that we're not clear about, or should we dive right into this?
All good for me.
I think we're all good then. And not only am I the host this evening, but I am also picking first in the draft. So let's begin this thing. And really, I'm thinking there's only 2 guys I could pick first. Last year, Walter actually did get picked first, and he's certainly someone obviously you have to consider because, I mean, not only was he brilliant last year, but he's really expanded and exploded this year, going everywhere, being the final boss in so many different promotions. So, but do I want him? I think I do, actually. I think Walter will be the first pick of the 2018 Euro Draft because he's just that damn good. I'm going to be picking Walter because not only in WXW has he anchored that promotion, he's gone to OTT and he's absolutely blown it away in just 3 appearances. He's created an aura there that's made him the top guy and the champion, and the proper big heel to get Jordan Devlin over to an even larger degree than he already is. He's working in Rev Pro now, and he had the big build with Tomohiro Ishii. And he's even conquering America now. So, Walter is the 2-time number 1 pick.
Well, I think most people had him at least in their top 3. I kind of didn't put him down simply with the fact I didn't expect to be first pick, and I assumed he would go first. So, for me, he wasn't on my shortlist for that simple fact.
Yeah, I think, was it the case for you guys that if you'd gone first, you would have picked Walter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty unanimous then, so I don't think anyone's going to claim that I reached or anything for that. Andrew Sinclair, do you want to pick your first wrestler?
Yes, that made my choice a lot easier. I'm going to go with Jordan Devlin. I'm sorry, Lee. I think he is easy to root for, and I think there's a lot you could do with him. So he's kind of the guy who stands out to me to be the obvious one, other than Walter.
My number 1 pick's gone.
I'm furious.
Hello. Seeing as Rob isn't around here to fanboy for Will Ospreay, I'm going to pick him first. I know he doesn't spend a lot of time in the UK compared to, UK and Europe compared to like Walter or Devlin, but any Ospreay is better than non-Ospreay.
Yeah, and we kind of felt that last year, and I think he only got picked 5th last year because we were scared that with all the New Japan commitments he wasn't going to be here very much.
He has been though, so yeah.
But yeah, the way it's turned out, he's actually been, over here fairly regularly, and the New Japan stuff doesn't really get in the way too much. Like, he's not on all their tours, so yeah, he's found a way to stay relevant in BritWres. And certainly the stats don't lie with him. He's absolutely crushing it everywhere. So yeah.
Rightio. So I guess I'm
up.
picking next. Now I'm a bit shocked by kind of the first 3. There's 2 people on the list 3 people who I sort of had written down. I wasn't expecting to get one of them, so I will go for him straight away. And I'm going to go for Timothy Thatcher, simply because I think outside of, although there's a little bit of a question mark of will he spend the whole year in Europe, I think he is spending as much time here as he is spending elsewhere, and I think he's a great person to sort of build the company around, and, for my money, one of the best wrestlers in the continent. There we go.
Yeah, the tag league moment for him was really the moment where I finally got Timothy Thatcher. I think that really made him in Europe and in WXW, and that means he gets to work everywhere else as well. He's another guy who's done really well in the latest OTT angle with Walter. Yeah, top lad.
Okay, so I guess that means I'm up.
And you get 2 picks as well.
2 picks, Lee.
The double pick, yeah. There's a couple of guys left I wasn't actually expecting to be left at this early stage. I think first I'm going to have to take Zack Sabre Jr. I know he's obviously got the New Japan commitments the same as Ospreay, but I mean, he does spend a good bit of time in BritWres, so I don't think he'll be missing all that much.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, who will I go for? I am going to take, controversially I think, David Starr.
Ooh. Round 2, that was a bit earlier than I was expecting, but yeah, I can certainly see why. Anyone else have anything to add about ZSJ and David Starr?
I don't actually have David Starr on my short list at all.
I'm about to shock everybody, but my first 2 picks I had sort of down on my list. I had David Starr and I had... I had Jordan Devlin and David Starr as my first 2 picks. So both, I'm having to reshuffle straight away. There we go.
I don't know what's happened to Mike recently.
I had plans.
Come over all funny.
He's a changed man.
Okay, so I'm next up, the
You are
first
indeed.
person to go back on themselves. So, for me, somebody who I thought was going to go top 3, so he was sort of a question mark for me. Working backwards, I'm going to go now. I'm going to go for Ilya Draganov.
I'm very surprised he hasn't been. He's been picked 7th.
Yeah, again, he's one of these people. I mean, there's more people later on who will sort of go through who I kind of see as good options for Ilya Draganov, people he's maybe not faced before, and I think I think Progress Wembley coming up has kind of shown that he is proven to be one of the few one of the few major draws, sort of both in Europe and in the UK. How that happens, how that sort of goes, we'll see. But I think he's perfect choice for top 2.
Yeah, and what you caught is that he hasn't really faced a lot of these top guys in Europe and over the world, and I think definitely that Wembley show will be a big deal for him in raising his international profile, because all eyes will be on him on that show, and with the build he's got. And yeah, I do feel that he's going to crush that opportunity. So Draganov falling to 7th did definitely surprise me, because I had him number 2 on my board. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping he'd just about squeak through that past Mike, and I could have him against Ospreay as a big main event feud. That would have been good. With him off the board, I want to go with another big name that's also kind of a part-time guy for Europe in Pete Dunn. I just think he's the best guy that's left on the board, so that's who I'm going for.
First WWE UK star in there. I know Devlin is in there as well, but maybe not to the extent that Dunn is, obviously the UK champion. And yeah, definitely a very good pick. He's the opposite number to Draganov for that Wembley. I want to call it the main event, but it isn't, but it is.
That means me.
Indeed.
I think I'm going to go a bit left field now. I'm going to go for Marius Al-Arni.
Oh, I love it.
Because I think he's brilliant, and I just want to hug him and put him at the top of the card. And stop any of you.
That's an excellent justification. And yeah, like, Al-Ani has definitely improved this year, and obviously he's just started the heel character as well, which will open up opportunities for him, because I think the major criticism of him before was he was a bit bland, didn't have a character, and he answers that by wearing a silly ninja hat.
Yeah.
I think now he'll be able to really flex his muscles. He's got Tarkan Aslan to like help him out in that regard as well. So I think, he's definitely set in the ring. It's definitely an interesting pick.
Yeah, I'm not convinced he can talk, so but as a heel, he's great.
I was completely with you on until about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't know if you've watched since Shortcut, but I think Alani he did the promo a couple of weeks back with Tarkan backstage, and I thought it was the best he's done for me.
Yeah, that character definitely has potential. So
yeah.
I think we might be looking back at that one, Andrew, and say that was actually a really good pick, and certainly not a reach at all. Okay, so that leaves me with quite a lot of options. And I've got a double pick as well. So I don't want to be safe, but I don't want to reach either. Okay, I'm gonna go 2 directions with this. First off, I'm gonna go for Tyler Bate.
Okay.
I'm not a WWE UK guy at all. I shake my fist at the WWE every day, but Tyler Bate is certainly showing his stuff right now, and I don't think I really need to explain too much about why. He's very, very good, even if you don't take into account his body of WWE work. He's having relevant matches in Fight Club Pro, which is difficult to do these days. And he's also main eventing Wembley, even if it's not a real main event. So definitely a top talent, and I think it would be weird if he didn't go in the first 2 rounds. But for round 3, I'm going to be cheeky a little bit and go for the king of smoke style, Bobby Guns. Because he has really, he didn't even get drafted last year this time. The 12 months he's had is just shockingly brilliant. His feud with Ringkampf set him off on the right path. He's had great matches. He's really improved his look. Obviously, his promos are absolutely fantastic. He's a babyface who introduces himself with bitches and gentlemen, which is hilarious. And he's just a naturally growing character that people have taken to him. And the most fun I've had in wrestling all year was chanting "Guns, Bob B. Guns" with the Irish section when we were all lined up across the aisle at Ambition. So yeah, definitely a man who has captured my eyes this year.
And there we see that my gamble failed miserably. I was working that if I picked Alani, then Bate and the person I'm going to pick would still be there for the next round. So Bate's gone. I will go for Trent Seven. Because again, kind of the same as what I've gone for the other ones, I think he's interesting, and I feel like you could kind of pair him up with a variety of different people and produce interesting results, and he's more or less the best of what I've got left.
I'm definitely a Trent guy. He's I always talk about his mic skills adding a certain element, but a lot of these other guys we're picking this highly don't have as much. Like the character skills can be used a lot.
I had a bit of a problem last year with tag teams. Because, well, as you know, I drafted both halves of the London Riots, and every tag team that I went for went wrong. So I'm gonna rectify that immediately. Look, in round 3 here, because I'm gonna draft Chris Brooks because he can tag with anybody.
Yeah, Chris Brooks. I think he went in the 3rd round last year as well. So, I mean, he definitely made an impact with his like independent speech. In Rev Pro, like he's definitely cast himself as an outsider, and that's definitely working for him right now. And obviously, CCK merch is flying off the hypothetical shelves. So, yeah, definitely always a guy you want to see.
Okay, so gonna gamble on the snake going backwards again, but my 3rd pick is going to be for me one of my favourite wrestlers in Europe anyway. I'm going to say Zach Gibson. Basically, it probably will come into a little bit on the soon enough, but I think he'd be an asset to any company in the world, and you could put, why nobody did bother putting a belt on him in the last 3 years, let's be honest, is a complete travesty. So for me, Gibson's number 3.
Yeah, his WWE UK performance in that tournament it showed that he is main event caliber. Like, no matter what people have been saying about him the past, as you say, years and years now, that like, maybe he wouldn't belong at the very tippy top. And yeah, it kind of puts to shame some of his booking in that time. Like, yeah, he's definitely proven himself. Lee has 2 picks now.
I'm up for 2, yeah. I am going to take, first of all, Jorn Simmons. I'm going to keep the David Starr Jorn Simmons feud going. And a little spoiler for my card.
Do love Big Jorn.
He's magnificent. So yeah, that's first. And second I am going to take, and this could be a reach and it may not work out when you guys are looking back on it in a year's time, I'm going to take Chris Ridgway. I thought he was going to break out this year, and I fully believe he should be getting booked everywhere. So I'm going to reach and hope that he comes good, or starts getting booked anyway, and pushed the way he should be.
Yeah, we're without our resident fanboy, Rob, of Chris Ridgway. But yeah, like, I mean, I saw his match with Keno live, and that was, very... chests were bruised in that match. So he's definitely a very unique wrestler. Round 4's about where I would have him, yeah. And Jorn Simmons, yeah, I love Big Jorn. I'm very glad that he's back from injury. Hasn't lost anything through that. It's just sort of delayed him a little bit. But I'm very glad that he's doing stuff and doing it really well. I'm excited to see that David Starr match at Fan.
I think round 3 could possibly be a bit early on him, but we'll see.
It's technically 4.
We are round 4 now, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're on round 4, and we have Mike Kilby coming up next.
Okay, so for kind of seeing how people are reaching quite early, and simply for the fact it
Gotta
would
grab
be
your
like
faves.
it would be like somebody going out with the girl you fancy. It would be an absolute travesty if somebody didn't have my favourite wrestler in the world. If somebody ended up having my favourite wrestler in the world, so I'm of course going to pick the monster of a man, the man from the Alps, Avalanche.
Love it.
There you go. I couldn't, on good conscience, have anybody else with Avalanche on their roster. So.
No, I fully understand that. The night, the Cerberus Forsyth night was quite magical. So obviously you have a special connection to the monster of a man, and he's done a bloody good job. The tag team, the Monster Consulting tag team, has been really top notch, better than anyone ever could have expected it to be, and Avalanche is certainly running with that ball along with Nero, who we'll probably see later on.
Possibly.
On Furious. Let's go.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be scrambling around there for a second because I'm like, Mike's going to pick who I'm going to pick, but he didn't. So I'm having Absolute Andy.
He was on my shortlist, but he wasn't. He was going to be somebody who I would have gotten if in a while, but he was on there.
Remember when
I want a bit of variety. Yeah. I don't want to pull a Callum and have all Progress guys all the way through. So
yeah.
Let's switch it up.
I just realised I've pretty much done that.
Yeah, Andy's just had a hell of a year, hasn't he? Obviously the big breakup angle at Tag League, leading into his King of the Dads character, which has taken Twitter by storm, and he's having really good matches in it as well. Very, long form sports entertainment dramatic matches, which isn't usually up my alley, but it's absolutely working for him.
In a kind of an added bonus, I don't think he's really worked with any of the 3 guys I've already picked. So there's a lot of
Ospreay
fresh
versus
stuff.
Andy probably would be absolutely killer.
Alright, you knew it was coming. We're going ICW.
Yeah.
Well, I say that. He got swiped off Shug's House Party for reasons I'm unaware of. NXT UK. I will say Joe Coffey. Because I think if paired with the right person, he is actually very good. And based on some of the other people I want to add later on, I have some good ideas. But there again, I thought I had good ideas before, and then Avalanche and Absolute Andy went in consecutive turns before me. So
It's the Eurodraft that time. You got to grab your faves. Yeah, Coffey's an interesting one because we were very down on him when we did the review show last week. I don't know if he probably could have taken him later. I don't know if anyone else was going to pick him this highly. I don't know what you guys had him on the board as.
Wasn't even a consideration, so there we go.
Wasn't on my shortlist, no.
He was on my list, but way, way down.
But, I mean, he has been in big spots for ICW, and he has certainly impressed in certain moments. We'll see about that pick, Andrew. I'm not completely crapping on it. Right, I get 1 pick now and 1 pick after we do the women. So I can send us through to that round with a couple of options. And I think since they were such successful picks for me last year, I'm going to have them back again. Mark Davis, I'm going to go for now, and we'll leave it a complete mystery as to who I'm going to pick in round 5.
Is it Big Fudge? Oh, wait, no, sorry.
Aussie Open have been probably the tag team of the year in Europe this year. They're going to Tag League as well, which is very exciting. And the German version of Tag League, and maybe even the Japanese version, you never know.
The one true version.
The one true version of Tag League in Germany. And they've just been having killer matches. Obviously, the CCK match recently is a standout. So yeah, I've gone for Mark Davis first because he's the big lad. And we'll see who I pick in round 5. Maybe I'll do a Rob and split up my tag teams like a dickhead.
Yeah, you probably don't want to do that.
So we have our female rounds now, and we do a different order for that to keep it fair. I'm not exactly sure how Rob came up with it, but I'm still going second, so it's a bit And Mike's still going fourth. I think it was just random both ways, but I don't know. Take it up with Rob if you have any issues with it. So this one will go Arn, me, Lee, Mike, and Andrew, and then Snake back, and it will be the same way in rounds 3 and 4 later on. So, Arn, who is your first female pick?
This is really tough because there's two completely different ways I could go in. The one I'm going to go with is the one that I probably enjoy the work of more, which is Millie Mackenzie. I think she has like a higher ceiling compared to some of the other options that are available, and she's less likely to get stolen. I say less likely, but yeah, with like Toni Storm, I think she's going to be in WWE properly soon, so I'm kind of going with the younger option.
Well, that's very interesting because it's the first time we've not picked Toni Storm first. You're a trendsetter, Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously Mackenzie's been a very exciting addition to BritWres. She did get drafted last year, but only in round 3. Obviously, she's made her presence known a lot more since then, and she's been everywhere as well. So definitely and I see you've changed it to Z. I was going to do that. I always forget that it's a Mackenzie, not a Mackenzie. And yeah, that's certainly an exciting pick, and it leaves me with a little conundrum as well, because as you say, Toni Storm might get snapped up sooner rather than later. So it's a bit of a risk taking her. So I'm not going to take her, and instead I'm going to
Martina.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm not going to take Martina either. I'm going to take someone who wasn't even drafted last year. We didn't even know she existed. It's Killer Kelly.
Scraping out my number 1. There we go. Thank you.
I'm very sorry, Mike. Take it up with Rob for doing it weirdly. I mean, Kelly's just been absolutely
I would have been
fantastic
fourth anyway,
this year. Since she came from literally none of us knowing who she was at Tag League, impressing there. She had the merch line out the door, which was funny. And she's gotten really good since then. She had a great match with Millie Mackenzie at WXW London. She's been holding her own in like the story-wise in WXW. They've obviously got the long-term story with her winning the title and then losing it quickly because she didn't really earn it. So that's very exciting. That kind of ensures she's going to be around in WXW for a while, at least until they complete that story. And it'll be an interesting story to follow as they go. She's definitely the woman who sort of unlocked that women's division for WXW, allowed them to do a lot more stuff than we otherwise would have thought they could have done.
Okay, well that leaves me with the Toni Storm conundrum now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Who's going to be the first?
Is Toni Storm going to go undrafted?
Oh God, she's so good, but she is going to get signed up. So, she is going to get taken away, I'd imagine. But also the person that I'm going to take has that problem as well. So I am going to take Ginny. I know she may not be on the scene as much with the WWE deal, but I just think she's such a good heel that I can't, not take her.
Yeah, Ginny's always been taken in the first round of the women before. And yeah, much like Kelly with WXW, she's sort of synonymous with progress. So you can see why she always goes, and you can see why she's being looked at by WWE so strongly. But again, we've got that issue where she may not be around as much anymore, but we'll see. Mike Kilby.
Okay, so as part of, I don't know, I'm not going to pick Toni Storm. She was never really a consideration. As great as she is, I expected either somebody else to pick her. But then also I had questions about the 50% rule. Is she going to be in the USA or even Japan more? So I don't know. My number 1 pick is going to be Melanie Gray, but she wasn't originally my number 1 pick. I had a few other people in front of us, but the rest of my people I think are obscure enough. I think I can get away with picking Melanie.
Yeah, I like it because she fell to round 4 last year, and I thought that was a bit of a shame because the stuff that she does is very fun and certainly exactly what WXW are looking for. And
she's a good promo. She's a good actor.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, again, synonymous with WXW. She's the new champion, if that's a spoiler. And yeah, you're always guaranteed some sort of excitement with Melanie. Something a bit different. So I definitely like her going in round 1. That's much better than her going in round 4.
You should have picked her instead of Martina in the first round last year, because she had what you wanted, but not what you got.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna get dunked on that forever. Andrew Sinclair, you get the double pick this time.
And I will avoid Toni Storm as well, because I think, like everyone else,
Wow.
I think she's going to get swallowed up into the big conglomerate mess and then not seen for some long period of time. So, my first of the two, I will go with Kaylee Ray, because she was my first choice anyway, and I was kind of surprised that no one took her, so I will take her. And then for the other one, I will go with Charlie Morgan, because I think her work's a bit inconsistent, but I think when she's with the right people, I've found her really, really entertaining, and her stuff in Eve I thought was really good. So I will go with Kaylee Ray and Charlie Morgan.
Yeah, obviously that balcony dive sort of made her. And as Arn says, she certainly came off like a star on that Eve show, which you very much enjoyed, Arn.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was a fucking great show.
Totally.
Yeah, so if she's repping that brand, then she's certainly a strong pick, and KLR's always a strong pick. Like, we almost make a joke that it's always Toni Storm and KLR, which is why I dared to break that up last year and fell on my face doing so. And we're back to Mike.
We're back to me. I don't know. I'm a little bit. I think I'm gonna go for it straight. So my promotion's gonna stack up all of the German gold straight away.
Yeah. I'm
gonna go for hailing all the way from Bray, County Wicklow Island, the Bethlehem of Irish wrestling. I'm gonna go for Katie Harvey.
Oh, I'm so angry with you right now.
Yeah, I think I've got plans for the other two picks, so this will all kind of be a little bit more obvious when we get to it in a bit. But for me, I think Katie Harvey's done really good work in GWF, really really good stuff in OTT, the Defiant show, and also a lot of Fight Factory stuff as well. So for me, a no-brainer first round.
Mm-hmm. Well, second round, but
right, yeah, first round of the women. So yeah, sorry, second round. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Katie Harvey is absolutely fantastic, and the run she got in Progress was absolutely dire and shameful. And it's good that she's back in OTT. Hopefully, she'll get a big presence there. But as you say, she's sort of been going around all these underloved indies, and doing really well there. And she's a very impressive wrestler, definitely. And very overlooked because of that Progress run. So hopefully she gets more big time shots this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, I think I'm up next, Andy.
Indeed, yeah.
Well, seeing Katie go has now got me a bit panicked. So I am going to take Valkyrie, a young up-and-coming Irish female wrestler. I think she's fantastic in the ring. I think she's had a couple of great matches with Katie Harvey and OTT, and I do think there's big things ahead for her.
Oh yeah, I watched the Triple Threat with them featuring in it, and and Sami Jane. Valkyrie was very impressive in there with two women who are a lot more experienced than her. And obviously we talk a lot about the OTT youth movement, and it's great to see that they're getting that with the women as well. They've got a couple of girls now who are coming through and looking very impressive. Valkyrie's already got the gimmick down. And yeah, with Katie Harvey moulding her, that should be a very interesting one to look back on in a year. And that means we come back to me. And maybe it's just recency bias talking, because she hasn't done too much recently, but when she has done it, it has been very, very exciting. I'm going to pick Alpha Female, who's been absolutely crushing it since she came back to WXW. The promos are excellent. Her appearance is amazing, obviously, and you just want to watch her when she's on screen. She's got that presence that maybe not all the women who's going to get drafted here do have. And just her interactions with Avalanche at Shortcut to the Top were fantastic and the best bit of that show. So if you can create moments like that, even if you don't have her around all the time, it's worth having Alpha Female on board.
When I said I was kind of choosing to go one way or the other, it was basically Millie Mackenzie or Alpha Female, so I almost got both. Almost, so close. You know what, I'm just going to take Tony Storm, screw it.
Yeah, someone had to eventually. She would have fallen to the third round, I think. And that means we are back to the men. And we're going to go 6 rounds this time with the men, and back to the original order with me going first, and snaking round. So obviously I went with Mark Davis in round 4, so it only makes sense to take Carl Fletcher in round 5. I'm not going to be that guy. Never. Aussie Open equals good. Andrew.
Right. I realise I'm falling down a rabbit hole of having quite a weak team. So I am going to go, and this might also be a terrible pick, I'm going to go with Mark Haskins. Because I think when he's not tagging with Jimmy Havoc, I think he's actually quite interesting. So, yeah, I'm Mark Haskins.
Yeah,
I love Haskins.
Definitely a good pick. And kind of surprising he didn't go in the top 16, but that's how stacked it is now. And obviously you got to pick your faves.
And that's
why
I
think
picked,
maybe
Well, I picked Joe Carter. He took his place in the top 16, didn't he?
Yeah. And yeah, Haskins, he's kind of nobody's fave, but everyone has him high on the list. So it kind of makes sense that he's down in round 5. But yeah, definitely a strong pick for this round.
This is kind of tricky because there's somebody who hasn't been picked that I don't particularly want to leave on the board for somebody else.
Pick him.
I think it's pretty obvious as well. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and draft Pack.
Ooh, that wasn't obvious to me at all. Your reasoning, sir.
Well, he hasn't wrestled anywhere for about a year. He is exceptionally good. He got signed by WWE at completely the wrong time. So, like, when he could have gone there as part of the Cruiserweight Classic, that would have turned him into a star, I think. He could have gone there as part of the UK thing, and I think he'd be the face of that. Because he is that good. Plus, he hasn't really wrestled like any of the guys I've already got. At all.
He's wrestled barely any of them at all.
Yeah,
on anybody's list.
He's been in the system for however long he's been there. So I think him being out on the Indies, I think he's going to be based in the UK. So I think he's going to have more matches here than anywhere else. It's a bit of a long shot. I might have fucked that up a little bit, but if he does, then it's going to look great.
And he also is eligible because he has wrestled 0 matches this year, and 50% of 0 is 0. So,
and he is English, so technically
he is European. So, Pac, I'll allow you to fall on your sword if that goes tits up.
But if it
could be
right,
a master stroke.
Yeah,
because I think if he's announced for any show in Europe, it'll be a master. Like, it'll immediately sell out any show. Effectively, I think he goes on. And then everybody in there and their mother will want to book Pac. He'll be in all of the tournaments, I expect, and I think it's could be a very shrewd pick, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm at a crossroads where there's lots of. I've got a list of about 40 people who I would quite like, which is it's kind of going. Who do I kind of?
We'll just keep going after everyone else is finished. We'll just keep drafting.
Yeah. Sure. But I'm going to go for somebody who, first time I saw him, wasn't hugely impressed, but I think over the better part of the year, for me, one of the biggest success stories of Rev Pro in the last 6 months or so. He's got a pinfall victory over Zack Sabre Jr. in the cockpit. I'm going to go for El Fantasma as my pick. I think he's someone who can kind of go in any weight division you could put him. He's built bulky enough that he can be seen quite feasibly as like a heavyweight, but equally he flies better than a lot of people in like who would be considered cruiserweight style. So I think Phantasmo is a real good jack of all trades, and I don't know. I think you can fit him in everywhere.
Yeah, I really like El Phantasmo. He's really come on in this calendar year, and he had the story to sink into with David Starr, where he was a really good babyface. And, he's got the funky entrance, and he's a nice guy. He's a nice Canadian man, and he's stepped out of the shadow of being Kyle O'Reilly's best friend and become so much more. So yeah, I think round 5 is a perfect landing spot for him. Good pick. And Lee gets the double now.
Yeah, I think following your lead on your last double, I think I'm going to take a tag team. And I'm going to show my OTT boys on this one as well. I am going to take Nathan Martin and LJ Cleary, aka More Than Hype. I think these guys are some of the best up-and-coming young guys in Europe. I think they're going to go real far. I mean, they were over with RevPro, or Fight Club, this week, just gone, and I believe they were getting rave reviews from the training seminars and things like that. So I fully expect you're going to see a lot of them in the UK over the next year.
Yeah, that's a very exciting one, because I'm pretty sure we all had More Than Hype on our lists, but maybe lower down as sleeper picks. But Lee's going all in on More Than Hype, and as he should. They've certainly been impressive in their showings. I really like LJ Cleary and his Barnet.
It's definitely
his hair is excellent. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think if they can get to England and everywhere else, they definitely have a chance of making a big impact. And I'm sure we'll be seeing many more Irish youngsters in this draft as well.
Okay, so it's back to me. I've got a few people I'm sort of tossing around for this pick, but kind of the way this is going, I'm going to go for the one I think is most likely to be picked out of the 3 names I've got going now. So I'm going to go for another person who's a mainstay of the cockpit shows for years now, and I'm going to go for Josh Bodum. For my money, and a lot of people's money, the last true heel in British wrestling. There's nobody has anything good to say about him, sort of as like in that sort of sense. But like professional wise, I think as a wrestler, he's brilliant. I think, and he can get a reaction like few people, barring maybe Gibson at the top of the card on my show. Barring Gibson, I don't think anybody gets as good reactions as Bodum.
Yeah, wearing that All Japan hoodie was that got me good. I was very angry. Takawamori should punch him out of his boots. Yeah, very good pick. We do like Bodum here. Mr. Unfurious, round 6 pick.
Yeah, I kind of had Bodum in the pocket there. I was thinking that would be a good pick for this round, but I'm going to do, complete one of my tag teams here. Seeing as Chris Brooks works with so many different partners, I'm going to select, actually my second favourite partner of his. Gresham isn't really allowed because he's just American. So I'm going to go with Lucky Kid.
Oh. I was 2 away from Lucky Kid. Didn't quite get back round to me, but yeah. Absolute superstar, Lucky Kid, and now he's got a story that he can really sink his teeth into. He's the emotional core of that Rise story they're telling, and that is going to push him over the top, I think. And also his match with Timothy Thatcher, I think, is still in my top 10, even after the G1 on the year. That really is a must-see match from 16 Carat. So yeah, Lucky Kid can kind of do it all.
I love him.
Yeah, he's a great babyface. And Andrew, you're up next.
I know. I'm going to go for Dover of the Arrows of Hungary because I think their bookings in RevPro, I think they're excellent. I saw them about 3 years ago on a really random Hungarian show on YouTube.
HCW, big fan.
Yes, and I thought they were the absolute boys. So yeah.
And now they're in Britain. Dream come true.
I think Dover's a really good kit because I think he's done a few sort of hardcore style matches as well. So I think with the likes of maybe like Joe Coffey, I think you could have quite a, you could. I'm not booking your show for you, but like that's a potential blood feud I think you could have, and I think that'd be really, really good stuff. And yeah, Dover was shortlisted for me, so.
Yeah, I had him as well.
Arrows of Hungary, definitely. I was looking out for, but Andrew's got them first, and I promised not to pick Icarus in my next 2 picks. I wasn't going to anyway. But who am I going to pick? Well, there's one guy who's maybe quite surprising, but maybe not so much, but he hasn't been taken yet. Because he was taken really early in last year's draft, and probably the year before, but he does kind of slip through the cracks, as always. I'm going to take Mark Andrews with my round 6 pick. And obviously his credentials don't need to be explained too much. He has very good matches left, right, and centre. Obviously, the WWE thing is a caution, but also, we've taken the British Strong Style guys already, and he's sort of next in line for them. So to get him at round 6, I think, is a bit of a steal. And pairing with him, I could go in a couple of directions. But I will go for... I may regret it, but Scotty Davis.
Oh, nice.
Before all of the Irish youngsters get taken, I figured I should sort of snap up the blue chipper amongst them. He's been working around Britain now as well. He went to Fight Club Pro. He's one of Will Ospreay's young lions as well. So he's definitely opening doors for himself in that regard. And kind of if Jordan Devlin gets snapped up anywhere, if he gets signed anywhere, I think Scotty Davis is probably the next in line to sort of being the Irish ace of OTT. So I kind of had to grab him before any of you guys did.
Yeah, I can definitely see him getting built up as the next, homegrown ace.
That could be a very strong pick. In a year, we might look at that and go like, yeah, he probably could have got him a couple of guys earlier.
Icarus.
Yes.
No discussion.
Arrows of Hungary equals good.
I was tempted doing a tease there and going for Mark Coffey, but I didn't think it would be very funny.
You could be the Rob of this round and split up all your tag teams.
Okay, so I'm kind of surprised he's still on the board. I'm going for Travis Banks.
Yeah,
I know his booking has been a little bit suspect over the past year, I guess, and he's currently injured. But yeah, I think he's worth it, definitely at this stage.
I immediately after you said, I was sort of writing down what other people were thinking of pick, and when you said second best tag team partner, I was just immediately assuming you were saying Travis Banks for CCK. So I kind of had him written at the bottom of my page just in case everybody else forgot him. But
that's another Brooks tag team. So I think my tag team division is just going to be like Chris Brooks and other people.
Yeah, you have to fight. The tag team title is actually a singles belt, but you get to team with Chris Brooks.
Yeah, whoever wins
the singles.
I don't really know that. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually going to complete one of my tag teams, which I sort of had written down. I'm going to pick somebody who, from I would say, one of the most underrated workers in Europe as a whole. I think potential to do both face and heel, but in this position, I'm going to make him heel. Really big guy, muscular. And I think with Josh Bodum will be one of the biggest shit-eating tag teams in the world. I'm going to pick, he's big, he's Dutch, he does the camel clutch, Emil Satochi. I just think Bodum and Satochi, they're two kind of similar, they're kind of cut from the same sort of cloth, and I think they're both kind of, as a tag team, just big jacked dudes just lamping on like nerds. I just think it'd be brilliant.
Controversial opinion, maybe. I think Satochi's better as a face.
Oh, I've been really enjoying him.
Yes, but then you do have the potential.
Him a bit.
You kind of have. I have to admit, I do prefer him as the face, but I think there's the potential of, there's the potential to have face turn down the road with Satochi as well. But
he can be a lovable shit muncher.
I just think if you get these. if you if you get these two guys, wearing the same kit, stay away from the velvet trunk Bowden. But like, I think get them looking like a really jacked unit. I think it'd be a great team. There we go.
And we go to Lee with the double pick.
Yeah, I'm just looking down my list. I'm not sure where to go next. I think first up I'm gonna take Eddie Dennis.
Yeah.
I think that's a solid enough pick for
Eddie.
this stage. Yeah, I mean, I don't really need to explain why I took him to it. And second, I am going to take another OTT guy. I'm going to take Sean Guinness.
Oh, the Maxer.
I like it.
Good pick.
Bringing the ladies in, are we?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think a lot of people wanted Guinness as more of a sleeper pick, but yeah, definitely. That seems to be Lee's bag.
It's unsure if he'll be around as much as he is right now, but I think at this stage he's a nice little grab.
Yeah, definitely. There's always a worry that he'll just be in 0-1 forever and never make any tape. But yeah, like he's certainly been impressive since he's been over in OTT, and he's stayed for a little while, so we'll see if he can make the 50% mark. But yeah, I definitely like that pick, and obviously Eddie Dennis has been crushing the character work. They've kind of softened off on the Dennis Andrews feud heading into Wembley, which seems kind of weird, but I mean, he's certainly made himself much more known over the past couple of months. Definitely his stock has risen, so it's a strong pick there.
Okay, I'm kind of at the point where I've got so much choice still that it's kind of it is a thing. Someone who I think he's gone off a lot of people's radar since departing WXW around April time. He's shown up in GWF, he's shown up in Southside a lot. I'm going to go for Bad Bones, simply because he's ready for TV. You could put him on TV. He's got, for me, one like facial wise, he's one of the best facial expressions in Europe for me. And I think you can put him anywhere against anybody, and usually puts a really big match, a really great match on. I know he's not the most popular guy with a lot of the German sort of press corps, should we say? But for me, I'd like Bad Bones is one of my favourite wrestlers, and I'm glad he's still there. So on the list.
His performance as the WXW champion was phenomenal. Obviously, the three-way where he lost the title, like he was, he looked like he was in the WrestleMania main event. Like he was that pumped up and that much of a high performance-wise.
The entrance and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, with it, but also like those the Rise meetings where he'd be at the head of the table and angrily looking at them all were very compelling, and like you really wanted to see what would happen next there. And him playing off with Pete Bouncer was scintillating at times, and all that for low production budget, just a bunch of wrestlers acting, and it turned out to be really, really good.
And now he's on the GWF side of Germany,
indeed,
for their 3-count series, which has a 100,000 euro budget nearly. You can tell that's kind of, I think it's showing him even better than before. So that's
brilliant.
For me.
And we're back to Arn now.
Yeah, I had Bad Bones down as for this round. I was like, people aren't going to pick Bad Bones. He isn't even in WXW anymore. But then I kind of have a sneaky feeling that he's going to be back at some point, and when he is, it's going to be amazing.
I had Bad Bones coming back at Shortcut as the mysterious thing that Bouncer was upset about with Tarkan. But there we go.
I think it might be a longer simmering
I think a lot longer
deal than that. But yeah, I'm very excited if it does happen. So, but yeah, that's how I had. So I need to readjust my thinking somewhat.
I'm just one step ahead on all the way through.
Yeah, at the like 2 out of the last 3 rounds. Okay, so I'm gonna switch it around a little bit. I'm gonna go with Francis Caspin. Yeah, I can tell from the reaction that he's good for everyone. But yeah, Caspin's a real prospect. Like he's got massive potential, and he's been getting better every time I've seen him. So I think in a year, even better.
Oh yeah, I mean JFK fresher than you has been very exciting so far. I was initially skeptical of the heel turn, but I mean Caspin and Skillet are absolutely making it, and obviously Caspin has the big upside. He's only like 22, I think, or something. So certainly a strong pick, and he's been heading up the draft board, so I could see in a year's time him possibly challenging for the top 20.
I was one away.
Oh. Everyone has been one away.
Blame Mike. Blame Mike for picking Bad Bones.
I will go for another one of the talented Irish youngsters. I will go with Curtis Murray because I think he's actually really good. Yeah, I don't really think beyond that, to be honest.
That's all the justification you need, to be honest.
I mean, I think we're all going to have like a flippy dude division, so I think this is where we're going to be getting all these names just saying, yeah, we like them.
Mr. the Aviator himself.
Just make sure you have St. John's
As we
Ambulance.
get later on, you don't really need to justify it so much. It's just, I like them. And we're starting to get to that point. And now I get a double pick. Looking at my board, and I was going to take JFK here, but again, 2 away. So instead, I'm going to deny other people their fun.
Some good killjoying, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm going to take Gang, Dirty Dragon.
I'm just happy. I'm happy you got drafted. More than
yeah, I mean, did he get drafted last year? I don't think so.
No, he wasn't on.
But I mean, he's a lovely dude. His storyline has been, it's hit home certainly for a lot of people. The trial series has been fun, and his interactions with Emil Satochi have they've fleshed out his character so well. He had the pillow fight with Jackson Stone at Femme Fatale, which was very fun. He's clearly a guy with a lot of ideas, very creative, and he delivers on those ideas. But now my next pick is a bit tougher. Dragon was, high on my list, but now I could be that guy and take one half of a tag team now. Would that be okay with everyone?
Go for it.
Depends on the tag team.
I think I could probably get them later, so I'm gonna... Sorry, this is the first one I've been, having difficulty over. Okay,
Come on, Ollie.
I know I'm on the clock. Yeah, even though he's not a European, but I think he does qualify for 50% this year, and I'm pretty sure he'll qualify for 50% next year. The Prince of Pro, Alexander James.
I think it could be a risk myself.
Yeah, same here. I crossed him out.
Oh
for that
no.
reason.
He's spending 6 months here, 6 months there, and I don't know. I think you could be risky.
I had him on my shortlist. I didn't really know either, but yeah, he was on there.
I mean, he's been very impressive as of late. Obviously, he was in 16 Carat, but didn't get too much of a chance to shine there. But I think he's mostly impressed me at the Inner Circle shows, where it's only 150 people, and everything he does is so crisp, and you can see exactly what he's trying to do every which way. His matches with Julian Pace have been very, very fun. And yeah, he can wrestle a good match with anyone, so definitely a guy I would like to have on my team.
I think I can get him later.
We're in the umming and ahhing.
We're at that stage already.
I'm gonna say Pete Bouncer.
Ooh,
love
And his
it. I love
abs.
it.
Because I think his promo stuff with Bad Bones was some of the most compelling stuff for what it was, really. So, but his in-ring always worries me a bit. But anyway, I'll go with that.
well, you say this stuff with Bones was really good, but the big money match is Bones is on my card.
Yeah, what is Bouncer without Bones?
Mm.
I was looking at the card to see if there's anyone else with like terrific abs that you could feud with. Well, Devlin, obviously.
Oh,
Alani.
I'm a big fan of Bouncer.
Alani.
And Joe Coffey.
I
Like
mean,
I could have a little gang of just dudes with abs. Big abs.
dudes with abs. There you go, Andrew.
There's your main stable. It's my turn. I'm going to go with Omari. He's really, really good. I don't think he's had a particularly good year, but I don't think he'll have a year as indifferent as this next year. So I think come sort of next August when we sit down to talk about how this went, I don't think I'll regret taking him in this spot.
No, I mean, I'm obviously Alan took him in the third round, which was definitely a reach.
That was too
last
early,
year.
yeah.
But I was umming and ahhing over him versus Alexander James, and yeah, it's just that feeling that almost like he had that moment to break out and he's missed it. Like, obviously that can come back around, but I don't think it's going to happen in that frame of time in the next 6 months or so. Like, he had that moment after winning Infinity where it was like, this is the guy now, and then he's back to the 7-man scrambles in the first match on Fight Club Pro. So if Fight Club Pro can get their shit together and make Omari Kyle Fletcher's big rival,
I think they do kind of have him penciled in there, I think. So
yeah, I just I can't trust the booking there. So we'll see with Omari. He's definitely a risk, but obviously the talent is there. He's a blue chip prospect.
I think at this stage,
coming in.
I think it's a good risk at this stage.
Okay.
I'm gonna. My kind of promotion, I kind of want it to be kind of as ready for TV as possible. So somebody else who is, I think, in backstage is really, really great in his segments, both for GWF and for WXW. I'm going to go for Tarkan Aslan. He's, again, I think he's one of these people that a lot of people maybe have slept on for a couple of months, but if you watch particularly the light heavyweight World Cup from April this year in GWF, Aslan was superb in that, and I just think he's somebody who would be ready for TV and would work well in this sort of promotion.
Yeah, obviously, I mean his talking has been absolutely fantastic, and that's kind of why I'm so hyped for his feud with Lucky Kid. Is just the promos that he's cutting right now are tremendous. He's got the facial expressions down as well. His in-ring is alright, but my big issue with him is the gear.
I think he's
got to change.
He's not shown his best in WXW.
No, they haven't really given him the chance to go all out. I haven't seen the light heavyweight World Cup, but obviously you've talked it up big time, Mike, so maybe I'll have to check it out and see what Aslan can do when the leash is off, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, I've had a name sitting at the top of my list for the last little while. The only problem is I am not sure if he qualifies for the 50% in Europe. So I'm just going to throw his name out there, and if you guys don't think he's eligible, I'll take him off. Speedball Mike Bailey.
I think it'd be a stretch.
I think it's a stretch, isn't it?
I'll put him down, unless Arn has anything to say about it.
I'm not sure he's at 50%.
But he might be
close.
this time
He's
next year.
close. That's why I'm kind of saying I'll put it down to if you guys let you guys decide.
I'm putting it down because he has had fairly lengthy times here. Obviously, he was in WXW for a while, and living there for a couple of months. So I'll allow it, yeah. And again, if it doesn't come off at all, if he stays in Canada for the next year, then we'll laugh at you next year. That's
That's part of the deal, basically.
Well, he's going to work elsewhere rather than just in Canada. I don't think that's going to happen. So,
well, yeah, and in DDT.
It's whether he gets more time in DDT than he does in Europe, which
Yeah,
I don't know. It's close. I didn't actually work that one out because I kind of figured he was more Japan than anything else. So
yeah,
maybe I dropped the ball on that one. At least picked it up. Sporting reference.
He does really love Takashita, so I think the lure of Japan might keep him there. But we'll see, Lee. We'll see.
Okay, I think I'm gonna have to be the dickhead that splits up the tag team. Because I really like these guys, and I'm not gonna take a chance that they get taken in the next round. I'm gonna take the artist formerly known as Adam Chase, Carlos Romo, from Team White Wolf.
Good choice. Very good choice.
Yeah,
those guys are great. Yeah,
I was definitely considering Team White Wolf. And yeah, obviously they've been making waves. The Attack Tag Team Champions, that's definitely a strong base for them to build on in the UK. And obviously they've been making Spanish wrestling relevant, which is exciting. We always like seeing new promotions from different places emerge and pop up, and their free matches on YouTube have certainly been making the rounds. And what I like about them is almost like they're completely a new generation of indie wrestlers who like wrestle as they've seen from like guys from Progress and stuff. So whereas the guys who wrestle in Progress now, like Mark Haskins, may be influenced by, mid noughties Ring of Honor, these guys are now influenced by early 10s Will Ospreay versus Jimmy Havoc. And I just like that there's a new era of guys who are wrestling based on the wrestling that was popular as we've been covering it and watching it. So that's really fun for me.
Yeah, I'm getting into a bit of a corner now. Really, I've just kind of got my sort of massive list of people I just would like. I might have to have a quick think. So, bear with me for a moment. I don't really know. I'm going to be horrible. I'm going to split up one of your tag teams. I'm going to split up somebody else's tag team. I'm going to take Kyle Fletcher.
Kyle Fletcher's
can't.
taken.
He went in very late.
Oh, he's already gone. For some reason, I thought you'd only got Mark Davis. My apologies. Okay, in which case... in which case, I'll take Kip Sabian then, please. I'll take Kip Sabian. I think, although he's kind of not had the breakout year, I think a lot of people thought he would have. I think Sabian's one, again, he's another one who you could put him either in a singles or you could put him in tag team. You could get him anywhere. I think he's just a good workhorse for that.
Yeah, he's one, as you say, you're trying to do a sort of TV ready roster thing, and he's one of the guys who's actually done quite well on World of the Sport, and I think the stock will go up for him from that, because he is a very Love Island-esque heel, and definitely has that look about him.
But I think you could put him in kind of because he's a handsome guy, you could put him as like a good-looking face tag team sort of thing as well. I think you could do both ways with him.
And we're back to Arn.
Yeah, I was just kind of flicking through a list of like who was left. So the guy that I think has possibly the most potential of the ones that are left on the shelf is Julian Pace. So I'm going to take him. Pace.
Grumble.
Yeah, he's really good. And if WXW have taught us one thing, it's that you watch the guys that they push when they're young, because in a couple of years they're going to be great. So yeah, he's going to be great in a couple of years. I hope he's going to be great this time next year, and I can just look back and go, that was an easy choice. Yeah,
again, the problem is he may not have a great year coming up, but obviously he's got loads and loads of potential. We like his cars gimmick. It's good fun. And obviously him and Caspin are the only two who've come through that training academy as official graduates, I guess. So, the quality is high there, and the upside is very high, and obviously Caspin is just emerging into something even better than he's already been. So the same thing could happen to Pace this year. He could definitely go up. So I think it's a pretty good pick.
I'm thinking, which is
the umming and ahhing.
Yeah. Well, I was going to go for Kip Sabian and stick him with his new best mate tag team partner, Yestin Reese, the Pride of Gloucester, but I'll have to think of something else. I don't know if this one will count, but he has been here for a year, so I assume it will. I'm going to go with Sean Custom.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he counts.
Because
Yeah,
I
definitely.
thought he was a lot better than Adam Brooks when they were tagging together. I thought he was the one who actually looked like decent. So yeah.
The first couple of times I saw Sean Custom, I thought he was rubbish. But like, if there's somebody who's massively improved by coming to the UK, I think it's him. Whereas Adam Brooks came here and I don't think he did anything.
No.
He just, if anything, he got worse while he was here. Sean Custom has improved a lot.
Yeah, Custom's on the upside. I remember me and Arn saw him in 2016, back in the what was it? I can't even remember what it was called now, but the old Fight Club Pro venue.
Fiction.
The Fiction,
Fiction.
obviously. A lovely Fiction, where dreams were made. And yeah, Custom just got completely, like no-sold by the crowd there. So it's good that he's, like, now starting to emerge a bit more. Certainly, not an immediate star, but not everyone has to be when they come over. So yeah, I think that's a good pick. We'll look on that and see what he's done next year. And my last pick before we go to round 2 of the female side of the draft. And I believe I picked this man in the exact same spot last draft, and I'm going to do it again here. And that is Angel Cruz. Because he is the master of the comedy match right now, and not just like a 5-minute comedy match. He does these like elaborate like mini plays basically with his machetes and his guns and all the crazy shit he can think of. And it's very exciting, and the amount of effort that must go into constructing these matches with Be Cool and Team Prick and whoever they're in there against. It clearly shows that he has loads of talent, and you can't just deny him as a comedy wrestler. He adds something very unique to OTT cards and fleshes it out nicely, and it isn't just super indie guys having flippy do matches. It's something a bit different. Also, he can go against Dirty Dragon. I've made a match right there.
Right.
Which means we're now on to the second round of the female draft. And Arn will be going first with that.
Yeah, this.
As he flicks through his notes.
Yeah, no, I just kind of I have it in a slightly different order, so I just kind of flicked.
Yeah.
There are some really, really good talents left here. But the one that I want that I just can't help myself and I'm going to have to pick is Vesna. Every time I've seen her, she's just been really good, and she's been wrestling Toni Storm, so I kind of have a ready-made match. I think she'd be really good with Millie as well. And of the other women that are left, there's some really, really talented women there, but I don't think any of them have got that kind of presence.
Yeah, imagine Alpha Female versus Vesna.
It's happening at GWF this weekend, I believe.
Oh my goodness. Should we fly out to
I'm
Germany?
99% sure it is.
That's just like your mum's fighting. That's fantastic.
Your mum and your aunt.
Yeah, Wesner obviously hugely impressed against Toni Storm at Femme Fatale last year. She got brought back for a nice little run at 16 Carat Night 3 in that 4-way, which everyone was excited to see. And yeah, GWF are using her more predominantly, so this seems to be becoming a theme of this draft show, but go watch GWF. Should get a sponsorship out of this.
I'm working on it.
And that means I'm picking next. And my third woman. Again, I've got a few different ways to go here. And I'm kind of annoyed Vesna got taken, because that would have been fun, and then I could have made Vesna versus Alpha Female. But
Anymore.
there's some talent on the board. And I will go with... I mean, I've got 2 Aussies already, so I may as well go for a third. Charlie Evans. I mean, she packs a wallop in her matches, certainly. Yeah, definitely, like, more physical than a lot of the women who are her size. And also, she's very, very popular, so she'll bring people in. Wrestling-wise, she's getting there. Like, she's still very young. Like, I think she's only, like, 18 or 19. So, I mean, she's not incredible yet, but she's got the personality down completely. And she's always very fun to watch. and she works everywhere, so she's only going to improve. So hopefully that will be a stock up situation, and she'll maybe be going in the top 10 for the women next year.
I think it's me again, isn't it?
It is on to Lee, yes.
Okay, I am going to take Nina Samuels. I think she can go either heel or face and be solid in the ring. You can I could put her in against anybody, I think, and get a good match out of it. So I think happy enough to pick up Nina now.
Mate, you see, that Nina was my... I was hoping you'd go for somebody else, actually, because it would line up for nice for my fourth pick, but Nina Samuels is kind of a bit of a key thing for me, so I have to go back to the drawing board for me. I'm going to go for somebody, and simply on the back of... no, I'm going to go for this first. I'm going to go for the other person first, and I'll go to the other one. I'm going to go for Debbie Keitel, because I thought Lee was going to pick him. Pick her, sorry. And, I don't know. I just think I think she could kind of do both heel and face very well. She's very sort of flexible in that department, and I just think one of the best young ladies on the scene, and who just good pick for me. I think really.
Well done, Mike.
I don't know. It's just someone who I wanted.
Yeah.
Actually, this time I actually have a load of people written down that I can actually still go for. First of all, the two I'm going to go for Sammy Jane, because I think she's actually really underrated, and the Rev Pros Women's Tournament at the start of the year, I thought she was the best one by quite a way. And then the other one I'm going to go for is she was, spoiler alert, she became the NXT UK Women's Champion, so I assume she's going to be here for a while. Rhea Ripley. She's only 21, so I think the next year she could really kind of break through and make a name for herself.
I'd completely forgotten that happened.
That's out of left field, yeah. But yeah, if she's going to be repping NXT UK, she's going to be racking up UK dates. So even though she's never wrestled on the UK Indies, I hadn't even thought of that, yeah. But that's a very smart pick, Andrew. I like that.
And we're back onto me, aren't we? So, thankfully, my fourth choice didn't get picked, and someone who I've kind of always sort of first seen her first few matches at the Cockpit, and yesterday she basically proved that she's a great pick, and I think there's a lot of potential for a match on this card. But I'm going to go for Zoe Lucas. Just come off a tour from Stardom, I believe, but on the Cockpit shows she's been really, really strong. So go. There's a potential Disney-esque match going from the kind of the sweetest of the sweet with Zoe Lucas against the Disney evil witch Melanie Gray. I think you could you could play around with that quite a lot, like the evil sort of distilled versus the Queen of the Cupcakes, Zoe Lucas.
I kind of want to see that.
Yeah,
now that you've mentioned it, yeah.
That's kind of what I was kind of going for that thing. So it's that's something that's my pick. Yeah,
brilliant. And back to Lee.
Well, obviously Debbie Keitel was going to be my last pick.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
You know me too well.
Now I'm stuck. I think I'm going to take another young Irish lady. I'm going to take Raven Creed. She's been seen a couple of times on the main OTT shows, but she's mostly been on Contenders, and I think she is just amazing. I think she's got real potential to go far.
Yeah, I like that. Keeping with the theme, definitely, of the young Irish talent. And obviously Keitel and Creed, both to watch out for, as well as Valkyrie. Yeah, all very good picks there. And it's back to me. And there is one high-profile woman who obviously hasn't been picked yet.
There's several, actually.
But what one in particular I have in mind?
Is it Martina?
Oh.
Well,
I'm gonna go have a cry now. Okay, I'll pick and then have a cry. Yeah, I'll go for Viper. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
Because she's been having really good matches in places. I would have thought Andrew would have picked her, obviously, with the ICW rep. But yeah, she'll definitely qualify for the 50%, I think. She's not in Japan that much. Obviously, her Japan body of work definitely adds to that. World of Sport, obviously, she makes all those appearances. She's popular. And
Mae Young Classic last year.
Mae Young Classic, indeed. And versus Alpha Female. That could be a great big gals match. The big gals division.
Yeah, so I figure I'm going to do Vesna and Millie Mackenzie as my main women's feud. I think that's going to be really fun to see. So that leaves me with somebody to play as an antagonist against Toni Storm. And I was originally wanting Sami Zayn. I think that's a really good pick, Andrew. But before I actually pick someone, I'm just going to point out who's left on the board still. You've still got Casey Owens, Bea Priestley, Laura Di Matteo, Chikara, Candy Floss, Shanna, Jetta, Lana Austin. None of these women are going to get picked. Which when you thought about a first year when we did this, that's insane.
Pack,
really.
Yeah. But next year we should probably add maybe a 5th and a 6th round.
Yeah, I think we need more rounds because there's a lot of talent left.
I'm thinking that we've come up a bit short here, but that just it makes it even more privileged to be drafted.
My actual pick is going to be Jamie Hayter, the Rev Pro Women's Champion. I think she's a terrific heel. Live and in person, her heel work is just despicable. I love it. So her against Toni, I think, is your babyface heel, secondary feud for me after Millie and Vesna. And I think that could kind of play off together. I might even do a tag match or something.
Awesome, yeah. So, as you say, great pool of talent there, and we've left a fair few names off the board, so I will have words with Mr. Reed and see if we can add a 5th and 6th next year, because that's really, really cool. I think all of our female rosters are very strong there. And yeah, there's still names to be had there.
Martina.
Such as Martina, which nobody has picked.
We laugh about Martina, but I think if you have, if we're talking about wrestling as a business, she's somebody who does draw, and I think you want people to come to your shows, and people want to come to see Martina, regardless of how people think about her in-ring work. I think there's
I thought you were going to say devastatingly incompetent.
Yeah, well, that's what, but then for every person who thinks that, there's 5 people who, hashtag fancies Martina, and they're the people who come to shows. So if somebody had picked Martina, it wouldn't have surprised me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike.
Sorry. Martina Defense Squad over here.
Yeah. Okay, so it's back to the men, and we've got 6 more rounds. This is where we sort of throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, kind of.
I have so much shit to throw at this wall.
I think there's 3. I don't know. There's 3 big names still in it, I think.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely still talent here, but this is sort of where we can get a bit
There's
more
2 very big names that are left. I don't have any intention of drafting.
See, I've drafted Cruz, so I feel like I should go for Be Cool to complete the set.
You should.
And what is Cruz without Be Cool? He adds just that little bit extra to the act. You wouldn't have the crazy tag team matches without a tag team partner, and Be Cool is very, very fun. I like his not his shorts, his trousers, his in-ring gear. He's a wacky, wacky character. I'm not going to draft Team Prick, but they're sort of there in spirit.
I think an underrated thing with Be Cool is that when Be Cool goes insane, Angel gets scared.
Yeah.
If you ever notice in their matches, when B loses it, that's when Angel gets a bit worried,
So B is even crazier than A.
Pretty much.
I am going to go for the wild boar, Mike Hitchman.
Oh.
Because, I don't know, I think he might actually be one of the people who actually benefits from the whole NXT UK thing. So I'm going to go for everyone's favourite grumbling little man.
I think having just kind of done the Progress WXW weekend, he's somebody who's come completely out of left field for me, and I kind of came away from the 2 Progress shows this weekend. I really, really enjoyed him. He's kind of somebody I want to see a lot more of, so yeah, good pick.
He was great in ICW last year with Mike Bird, so I would go with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought Bohr was...
On.
Bohr, I picked him like 2 years ago, and he was... I think he was ready then to be a star somewhere, but... Nah. Okay, so we're into the slightly more left fieldy things now, and I have a lot of space in my left field. First of all, I'm going to go with Dean Allmark.
Wow.
He is a terrific wrestler. If he didn't look like I don't know, like a pudgy middle-aged man, then like he'd be booked everywhere. But he is a phenomenally good wrestler, and he hasn't really wrestled any of the guys that I've got. So, Dean Allmark. And anyone that's going like, who? Just look him up.
Potentially the winner of next week's British J Cup. Yeah.
He's in the BJ Cup. He is a BJ.
Ollie.
Okay, I'm gonna say we're fully in the left field now. I'm gonna go somebody who I think, I saw him at Wrestling Cult this year. He kind of and Wrestling Deutschland and
Carnage.
No, not him. No, not Carnage. I'm gonna go for the other big wrestler from Croatia. I'm gonna go for Chris Jokic.
Oh, I like it.
pick.
He was on my list.
Yeah, he's on mine as well. He was on the sleeve.
There we go. Yeah. Look him up. He's brilliant.
He is.
Yeah, definitely the guy who impressed me most from our morning of wrestling at Wrestling Cult and also Wrestling Deutschland. I'm hoping WXW will use him, even just for like a shotgun taping or two, if they can get him, because he's very, very flashy and a great cruiserweight to have around.
Okay, I'm up double pick again. Obviously, I'm going to finish off the Team White Wolf team, so I'm going to take A-Kid. Obviously, he'll be teaming with Adam Chase, and I have a plan for this next one. I'm kind of surprised he's still on the board. I'm going to take Jimmy Havoc.
Ooh. Yeah, he has fallen quite far, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. And at this rate is a good pickup, yeah.
I did notice him still there, but I just didn't want him. To be honest, like, Havoc has a niche spot for me, and I don't really like his wrestling very much. But at this stage, that is a pretty tremendous pickup.
Yeah, like, again, I feel like he's had his run, you know, and obviously they went back to the Ospreay feud for a match this past week, which we'll have to watch to see how it went. I hear it went like 40 minutes or something, so I'll strap in. But yeah, at this rate, it's a very good left field pickup. Like, it's a top guy, but down low. So we'll see if he can raise back up again and see if you're a genius in a year's time.
I wouldn't count on it.
I'm also going to dip into the well of progress, and I'm going to pick someone who, I've seen a bit more of recently. Kind of last year, he wouldn't have even got anywhere near it. I'm going to go for TK Cooper. I think it's just a nice, safe pair of hands. I think you could put him in with a lot of people, and he was somebody who was still on the board, and I thought he was, that was well.
I mean, Cooper last year was injured, so that was why he got drafted at this stage last year.
He was injured and being deported, so...
Yeah, so we were all kind of worried for him, and he came back, huge ovation, got injured again, and now is mired in booking hell, where
I wouldn't
just nothing has gone right for Paul.
I wouldn't put him on I wouldn't put the big belt on him, but like I'd have him on.
Yeah, again, a good pickup at this stage, certainly. And, I mean, he still has a hell of a lot more to give, and if he can hit another run, if he can like hit another vein of goodness, then he could be flying up the charts next year.
The temptation to pick Mike Bird here and fuck up a Marauders reunion for Andrew is very tempting. I'm not going to do it, though. I'm kind of... Oh, shit, I didn't... I need Jay Skillett for the tag team with Francis Caspin.
Naughty.
I kind of forgot he was there. Well, rather, I hadn't drafted him already. So, yeah, Jay Skillett. I just looked at my notes and I was like, why isn't he coloured in?
Cheeky Arn, cheeky. But yeah, obviously Skillett has sort of been the man who's turned Caspin into a naughty boy, and that storyline's been very, very fun. And I can't wait to see what they'll do at World Tag League.
I'm starting to look at the ICW list now, and it worries me. I was going to pick Kenny Williams at the start. He was someone, but he has really gone off the boil recently, and his work this year's just not been really what I was expecting. I thought he'd really push on this year, and he just never did. So it will not be him. Instead, I'm going to go from someone who has impressed me on the cockpit shows, and I'm going to go for Dan Mcgee, because I think he might really step up next year and actually start kind of putting on consistently better matches next year.
Yeah, I think that's a smart pick. Getting quite popular as well on the cockpit shows, and he's one of the few people to cross the divide onto the as part of the Rev Pro TT thing, and I think it could be a shrewd pick there.
Yeah, it's definitely a good pick. He's just got his fresh out of his Young Lion gear into his fake Tanahashi gear, and had a very fun match with Josh Bodum to open up the Summer Sizzler. And as Mike says, going to OTT as well, that should be fun for him and get a new angle on wrestling for him. Definitely still a project, but a project that's actually going somewhere, which is good to see. Also interesting that he went ahead of Chapman, who's sort of gotten the bigger chances so far. Yeah,
of course. Is again, I hope this partnership is more, and we get more of them guys, and that a lot of our guys sort of go over more as well. But it's definitely interesting. Mcgee was first, but there we go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I get a double pick now, and it's tempting to go for another tag team. So I will. I'll go with Damien Corvin and Bonesaw, the Kings of the North.
Honda Saw.
I mean, Kings of the North kind of took over OTT for a bit there before they went all in on the Jordan Devlin mega push. They were like a big anchor for the promotion while they were sort of still boiling Jordan Devlin up. Obviously their entrance at one of the National Stadium shows last year was like a major highlight. They looked really, really big time there. And they can talk as well. Bonesaw's, Yadar, who's not happy that you come home at 1 a.m. He's going to talk some sense into you. A great theme as well. Can't underrate that with the drums. It gives them a real major league look. And they're always going to be there for OTT when they need a big tag feud.
I'm going to go for Mark Coffey, because it was a toss-up between him and Mike Bird for the second tag team, and I realised I never had anything planned for Coffey. I just like him, so now that gives me something to do.
It certainly adds an extra element to the Joe Coffey pick. It's a good addendum.
Or a panicked addendum.
That's the best kind of addendum in the Euro draft.
I'm going to go for someone here that might not be on too many radars, but he's kind of getting a little chance to show what he can do on World of Sport. I know Mike Kilby knows who he is, because he saw him wrestle Keith Lee for 3CW. That's Justin Sizem.
Yeah, good pick.
If he hadn't been away playing Hawkeye for that Marvel traveling show that he was on, I think he would be a lot bigger than he is. But he is a terrific wrestler. Like, really, really good.
Oh, yeah. He's got the look as well. I mean, he looks like a superhero. So,
yeah.
Definitely made for primetime World of Sport, that guy. But he's got the in-ring chops as well, certainly. And we'll see if he can, work all sorts of different places, get some big names under his belt. Obviously, the Keith Lee match was a big one for him. Definitely a big prospect for...
He didn't look out of place in that match, so that makes me think he's destined for big things.
Excellent.
Right, I've got 11 names left and 4 spots. Well, 12 actually, 12 names left. I'm gonna go for somebody who I think could give a lot of variety to. If we kind of have a lower weight division, someone who could give a lot of variety, ground a few of the high flyers down. I'm going to go for Fight Muller, the Hamburg catch wrestler. Kind of come out of nowhere really for me in the last 3 months, let's be honest. And I think you could then maybe bring him into the Gibson, you could bring him into Thatcher, higher up the card, and I think would be a good person to have add just a bit of variety to the undercard.
Oh, sorry, I'm up. I was just looking at my
Yeah,
list.
it's okay.
I don't know where to go now. I think I'm going to take Jack Sexsmith.
Even though he is injured.
Yeah, I'll take a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a bargain pick at this rate. I think we were all just kind of avoiding him because we don't know how severe the injury is going to be. But yeah.
It's, we're at the stage where if you can take a chance on it, so...
yeah. I mean, it's happened before in the Euro draft, so I'm certainly not going to begrudge you for it.
And I will also I'm going to take Adam Maxted.
I love it. Love Ireland's Adam Maxted.
I think he has a lot of potential. Obviously, he has the look, for sure. But every time I see him in ring, in OTT, he just keeps getting better. And obviously, he has the Love Islands team. So
Yeah.
Right, I gave Lee. What round did they go in? I gave Lee since round 9 to do this one, and he's not done it, so I'm having him. He's a graduate of the Lance Storm Academy, the third wheel of More Than Hype. I'm going to go for Darren Carney. Okay, I was going to maybe take him last round, but Joe, I think I gave you another. Yeah. I wasn't going to snatch him straight away.
I was going to take him next time around just to take him, but obviously.
I mean, I'm liking that Veit Muller Darren Carney double for Mike there.
Yeah,
it's a strong double pick though.
Yep. Ollie, get your caps lock ready. I'm calling in the big grizzly.
Oh, here we go.
Balls to you, Arn.
Anything to add on Big Grizzly? Or just
you don't. No, you don't need to add anything.
Just Big
to that.
Grizzly in all caps.
I'm speechless now.
were you actually going for Big Grizzly?
Yes, because
wow.
because he was in the square go, and I thought, cool, he's a big boy, and he was actually a good big boy, so I was going to go for him. He's also from the same school. He's done a lot of work with Wild Boar, so that was a potential tag team as well. Now I've got to think on the fly. I'm going to go for a high flyer that I've seen some stuff from Germany. I'm going to go for Oliver Carter.
Oh, nice. Good choice.
Because
good choice.
I think
he was next round.
I think him against Curtis Murray in the show opener would be fantastic.
Superb pick.
I was hoping Carter would still be on the board on the last round, and I could have picked him up there. But good choice. Very good choice.
And now I get a double pick. This is when I'm going to just start.
Your final two.
Some names out there.
Oh no, you have
my final. No, we got three more. Well, I've got 3 more picks, and everyone else has 2. I'll go with Shock Mambo first. He's been making steady improvement, and he got drafted fairly late last time, and we all said it was a good pick to go with that late.
I think it's very last round, last.
Yeah. So I've moved him up a little bit, not too far, but he's definitely shown his value. He had a super strong star 16. If Progress would actually book him a bit more, that would help. But he's working different places as well. He's just turned heel in Attack, ripped off the mask, become the Mambo. So that'll be a new side to him, which we'll see, and that's very exciting. He's showing his in-ring chops a lot more, and I think if he gets the chances, I think he'll definitely improve and maybe get like a big match under his belt. That's kind of what he needs right now. It's a good flyer pick for me, I think. But that's sort of a mainstream flyer pick. Everyone knows who Chuck Mambo is. For a less mainstream flyer pick, actually, there's an interesting man still on the board. I'm not gonna wait for anyone else to pick him. He's the man with the question mark on his face. The Dominator, Great O'Khan.
Ooh, yes,
The Dominator.
I'd completely forgotten.
I thought the gimmick was dead on arrival when I first saw it. We were up in our private press box.
I think the joke I made is this is how Gibson gets to work Rev Pro still. Coming out with a big question mark on his face.
Yeah, we all thought that it was gonna be like a joke gimmick. It was gonna be like Bodum or someone like taking the piss out of Japanese culture, but like all the shambling, and it was crazy to see. But yeah, it was Oka. But the match against Strickland, I really enjoyed, and I thought Okan was a major part of my enjoyment of that. I think he's getting there. He's getting the character stuff down. He's still very Mongolian chop heavy, but I'm kind of okay with that. He threw some good lariats in that match, and he's got the presence down. So I think, he's not clunky anymore, and he's starting to get it with the character. It's a major change, so it takes time. And I mean, this late on, how could I lose? It's New Japan.
Yeah, he had a great match against Rishi Ghosh last month at the cockpit. Yeah. And he's here for. There's varying stories. Some people saying 6 months, but I've heard as long as 3 years, which is, hey, we'll see about that.
Yeah, if it's months or years, I should get some value out of them either way.
They like to let the characters develop and let the wrestlers develop away from New Japan for a while, and even kind of let the crowds back in Japan kind of get adjusted to them not being there as young boys. So I don't know. It could be 3 years. You never know.
I'm in a quandary now because that big Grizzly pick has really thrown me. I feel rocked to my very core.
Is it the Caps?
No, it was more just he was there to just batter the living daylights out of Dan Mcgee. I don't. Okay, I know. I'm going to go with Martin Kirby. Purely because I think the World of Sport stuff may get him just a few more bookings, and he has been doing a bit more Rev Pro recently. And I don't know. I think he's really good. So.
And he is really good. He's just not one of the cool kids anymore, I guess. But yeah, he's certainly holding down the fort where he is working. And yeah, a match with Martin Kirby in it is never going to be bad, I don't think.
I'm never sure when it's too early to take this guy, but I don't think anyone else is going to draft him. So it's like I kind of leave it. I've left it a little bit later this year, but I'm having Gene Money. He's one of the best comedy wrestlers in the world. And he's not really been booked anywhere, but he deserves to be. He's phenomenal. Gene Money. 2 N's, no E, and a Y. His sexual gammon.
The Gene Money character is absolute genius, having UKIP voter basically wrestling Jeremy Clarkson. He's
wonderful.
It's inspired.
He'll give some nice change of pace on the show, and
absolutely.
And
I think you've got him even later. You've got him even later than you did last
year.
I
took him probably too early last year, but
yeah.
But now we're into the fucking around end of things. I'm quite content to get in there.
Right, I've got 6 names. One of them I really hope somebody else picks, because if not, I'll have him. There's somebody who I wasn't. If this is for the first show of the, this sort of thing, but I do kind of think we could use him later on. I'm going to take Julian Nero, the second half of Monster Consulting. Kind of not really. I kind of planned to have Avalanche as a singles guy, but I think it's always good to have Julian around, and I'd feel really bad if he was left off.
Yeah, I was actually waiting for you to pick him. I was like, I kind of want. Nero I would have had going 4 or 5 rounds earlier than this.
If
actually,
I'd had Avalanche, then I would have had Nero at some point.
Yeah,
but because Avalanche had gone, I was like, yeah, Nero kind of needs to be with Mike.
Yeah, So yeah, Mike sort of played a blinder there in getting a guy whose value is with another guy, but just not holding off on picking him. But yeah, obviously, big fan of Nero. He's improved massively with Avalanche. And I think if they ever do break up that team, Nero could go on and do some good stuff. He's got that big frame. You know, he comes off as a monster as well as a consultant. So, you know, we're big fans of Nero here, big fans of Monster Consulting, of course.
That's a
now
huge
Mike has
switch, though,
completed this
over the course of the last year, going from like thinking of Nero as like that guy who hangs around with Cerberus to, oh, actually, he's really good, and he's really good in a tag team with Avalanche.
He's made his mark this year,
move.
definitely.
Yeah.
My final two picks. I'm kind of torn. I could take a tag team just to take them and have a couple of comedy guys on the card, or
Go with your heart, Lee.
But there's also two guys I really like still on my board, so I think I'm just going to take them. I'm going to take Kenny Williams. I think he's really solid in the ring. I don't know why he doesn't work anywhere other than ICW.
Which he's not working anymore. Because he's now aligned with everyone's fave. Bram! The boys.
Bram?
The boys.
Can we edit that out?
I think we might.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
So,
Kenny Williams is a good value pick for here. Like, I don't know where he is wrestling other than like WWE occasionally. And yeah, it's sort of a shame because he is a talent, certainly, and it's just not really being used right now. But yeah, for this late on, getting a guy with that much obvious skill as Kenny Williams, if he does explode in the next year, you'll look like a genius. I'm saying that a lot about these picks. Some ifs, but you know, if it all pays off, even if just one of them pays off, you'll be looking good.
I'm also going to take another guy who I don't know why he's not booked more in the UK. Charlie Sterling. I think he's one of the best comedy wrestlers in OTT. I thought his run with Gibson as the Rapture was really good as well when he was more serious.
He was
he's
solid with Redman in Rev Pro 2 years ago. A lot of people thought it was boring, but like, you know, if you had him in a tag team with somebody else, like, he was just solidly decent. So I think you could have a nice tag team with Maxted and Sterling.
That was the plan.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is my final pick, and I think if I'd had three more, I'd probably take. So I'm kind of tossing up three of the three people, but I'm going to go for the French masked sensation Sensor Volto as my final pick.
He was on my list as like a potential final pick.
We'll go through our rejects at the end, won't we? So
yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You get to name drop there.
Yeah.
And Arn's final pick now.
I have like 3, maybe 4 that I really want all of them. It's tricky because like they all have good things going for them. So now I'm looking at which one I think would be funniest. So I'm going to go with Young Money Chong.
Ooh.
I like it. He's just re-debuted in WXW as well.
Yeah.
And he's a very funny guy, so I can see him being a good act for them, and hopefully will be more valuable in a year's time. Excellent. I kind of see him as like Gene Money's sidekick, possibly.
That works, certainly. Yeah, you've created some value there, definitely. And we go to Andrew's final pick, the penultimate pick.
I've got a real two-way tie. One, because he's an ICW and I really like him, but I don't really see where he fits in. So I'll go with a guy who I don't think really gets booked enough in the UK, and that would be Tucker. Because I've really liked the few times I've seen him, and I think you could do, like with the guys I've got, you could have quite a few really like athletic, high-flying matches. So he's my final pick.
I had Tucker last year, and I kind of had high hopes for him, but yeah, he didn't get booked anywhere over the last year, really. It's a surprise to me because he's very good.
He just doesn't travel outside Northern Ireland, basically.
That's a bit of a shallow area to work in.
Yeah.
He's happy being at home, I think. I think that's basically what it is. I mean, whenever OTT is in Belfast, he's on the card, so...
It does appear to be the rule, though. If you haven't seen them for a long while, so we talk about Tucker, Kenny Williams, these people have all worked for GWF in the last year. So if you've not seen them in a while, they're probably on GWF.
Alright, so we're down to the final pick. It's flown by. And we started with Walter. And I guess now I can just run down the names of people I have on my list but haven't been drafted yet, and we'll go yay or boo, and I'll just pick whoever's the funniest, as I says. So I got El Ligero.
Whee.
I got Rampage Brown.
Whee.
I'm surprised Rampage Brown hasn't gone, considering
He went in like round 3.
Yeah. And I thought about it, I just didn't really have a
Yeah.
place to fit him in.
Yeah, it's just kind of the same here as well. I've got Curtis Chapman down.
Nice.
I've
Yeah,
got
I-
Kelly 6 down.
I
and
had
I'm tempted by
Curtis
Kelly
last year.
6. Tempted by Kelly 6 because I do like him. I got Chief Deputy Dunn and Santos. Probably not going to happen. I got the Hunters. I'm not going to draft one Hunter. I
Draft
got
Lee.
Mills and Mayhew. Not going to draft one of Mills and Mayhew. I got Danny Jones. He didn't really do much for me last year. I got Drew Parker. Not too much of a deathmatch guy. And Cara Noir, who is persona non grata right now. So actually, I've said all those names, but there's also one other that I haven't said, and I'm potentially leaning on him or Kelly 6. I like Kelly 6, but I don't know if he's going to like break out in the next year. Whereas I think a guy who's like going to get a chance to at least do something in WXW is Marius van Beethoven. So I'm going to pick Marius van Beethoven last. Just because, you know, he absolutely killed himself in that match against Alpha Kevin a year and a half ago now. And he had the great feud with Melanie Gray, the Alpha female, and Alpha Kevin as well. That great 4-way feud, which was anchored their winter of 2016. And he's just re-debuted as well with Chong. So it's a great chance for them both to do something. You know, looks like he's going to be playing babyface, but obviously he can play it up as the shit-eating heel as well. So he's a diverse prospect, the Marius van Beethoven. And I'm typing it in the wrong place. There we go.
Yeah.
And there we have it.
Drafted.
That is 2018 Euro Draft. And now we have to immediately rip each other's rosters. So, who wants to be brave and be the first person to say who they think is the best roster that isn't their own?
Oh, I was going to say, well, I clearly have won.
Well, we've all clearly won in our own minds.
I haven't.
Okay, so I'm taking a look at Ollie's. You got Bobby Guns, Mark Davis, real big prospects there. Women's division's pretty strong. Scotty Davis, I think, is a real strong pick in that 9th round. Not convinced by your bottom 6 there, apart from Be Cool and Angel Cruz would be a good team. I'm not overly fond of Kings of the North. I kind of like Mambo, though. Maybe I'm being harsh.
I think Mambo's my most improved wrestler of the year.
And he went up 2 whole rounds in the
Two
Euro
rounds.
Draft.
Yeah.
I think Andrew, I'm looking down there, and I think he took Joe Coffey too early.
Yeah.
I probably would have had Haskins at some point. I like Haskins a lot. There's some real strong talent there with Devlin, Alani, Haskins. Curtis Murray's a good pick. Sean Custom as well. And I think you're really strong into the back 6 as well there with like Wild Boar, Dan McGee,
I do like the
Oliver
Rhea
Carter.
Ripley pick. It's inspired.
Yeah, and I think Sami Zayn's a great pick as well. Like I said, I was going to pick Sami Zayn in that last round and got beaten to it.
The only thing that made me
I
pick Ripley was the fact she went over Tony Storm in the final.
Yeah. It's a stroke of genius because I don't think anyone else was thinking of her.
I didn't think about her at all. No, she wasn't on my list.
I think for me, Arn, I really like what Arn's done, mostly because he took a load of people that I wanted. So that's my
just before you as well. Oh, how different it could have been. Obviously, the pack pick is sort of the big question mark there. That could really come off.
That could pay off big time, I think.
Yeah.
If he wrestles a lot in Europe, then you're looking at somebody who really should have gone in like the first 2 rounds.
Just hope he doesn't sign for Ring of Honor, don't you?
Yeah, that'd be quite bad.
I do really like Lee's picks. There's a lot of upside there. Obviously, some of them are controversial, like Mike Bailey, Havoc, Sexsmith, Williams could go up or down depending. But obviously, Nathan Martin and LJ Cleary is a big hit, and I'm surprised he didn't get Darren Kearney there to complete the set. But hey ho. And obviously,
I think Eddie Dennis is a really good pick, but I kind of didn't have a place for him, but he's a really good promo. So having another really good promo guy in there, like, can you imagine him and David Starr in like a promo battle? That'd just be fantastic. So I like that aspect of it.
Top pick and Jörn Simmons in round 3. Big fans of them both.
No, I think I do like Lee's roster a lot. I'd give more money towards Lee's roster than probably some of the others.
Ooh.
But yeah, I don't know.
Mike has picked a lot of people that I was going to pick. So like he had Draganov in round 2, and I kind of had him penciled in for 3, which I think was optimistic, but still. Bodum, Satoshi, Bad Bones. I was kind of looking at all these guys, and that they were on my to-do list. Chris Jokic was another one that I would have had him in the next round. So a lot of Mike's picks are ones that I would have had, so it's kind of altered my roster, and I don't really know who's come off better for it. But they're both strong, I think.
I think for me, there's only really 2 impulse picks. In the sense of there's very few people on any other people's roster that I feel I'm missing. For me, like there's people I would have liked, but there was only a handful of times when it was like I felt that I wasn't getting. There's only one person I think I'm seriously missing on, and that was, I think it was Nina Samuels was the one I was kind of key for me, but. I think I really like Ollie's roster. I think barring the last 6 or so, I think
it's reverse of last year.
No. That being said, Mambo I think is a really inspired pick. Kings of the North, great tag team. Great O'Khan, I think you could have a lot of fun with, especially in the way that you have got Angel Cruz, Be Cool, you've got Dirty Dragon. You could have a lot of fun with them guys, and also Marius von Beethoven. Great O'Khan would work quite well against them people because it's a little bit quirky stuff.
I'm very annoyed I didn't get Katie Harvey though.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, but I think every single roster is really good. Again,
I think it's much more balanced than it's ever been before. There's no obvious winners or losers.
No,
here.
And I think it's all going to go down to who does the better card, isn't it? Really, but
the card's obviously a big aspect.
But
it's going to come down to personal preference as well, because some people will just look at. I don't know, mate. There are people who don't like Timothy Thatcher in America, so having him as the number 1 pick, they might look at that and go.
Just because he's number 1 doesn't mean it's the main draw.
Yeah, but even if you just glance at it and you're an Evolve fan, for example, so you do get these kind of votes sometimes that are skewed by the top picks.
It's a very diplomatic wording on.
I have to say, I was thrown by Mike taking Thatcher number 1. That surprised me. I do think Mike's roster is probably the strongest outside of my own, obviously. But another Arn's top three, if they're around in the UK, of Osprey, Dunn, and Pac is just. I mean, that's going to draw in punters, isn't it?
You see them on a poster, and you're probably going.
Yeah. And then you have Absolute Andy as well.
Like. Hit him with the Andy. Come for the Osprey, stay for the Andy.
Oh, Andy's the champ.
Yeah. Petty cash.
Yeah, no.
How about people that didn't get drafted at all? Are they that kind of surprised you?
Should we go through the people who didn't make it on our
lists? Obviously, El Ligero was the top of my list of guys who haven't been drafted.
I'd say Rampage Brown was probably top.
Yeah.
Thing is, it got down into the last 3 picks, and I wanted 3 stupid picks, so I couldn't really angle him in there anywhere. But he
once
is
it's
really
down
good.
to the last couple, you need sort of chances, like chance picks and fun picks, and getting a guy like Ligero or Rampage Brown at the end doesn't add value.
I didn't have enough fun guys on my squad, as it were. So when I got into the last few, I'm like, I really want some fun guys in here to kind of liven it up. Picking Rampage would have been the opposite of that. Yeah,
I think for me, the first real 4 rounds were the ones that really kind of decided the rest of the show for me. If I wouldn't have gone Thatcher and Gibson as early, if Thatcher was, I was assuming Thatcher was going top 3 because I saw my position. I assumed it was going top 3, and then when Gibson didn't go second round, I was like, right, I already have to get him. So really, I was kind of going for a few more character-based sort of people. So I had no fun. Chief Deputy Dunn. Written down, and I was kind of going, I'm begging somebody else to take him, to be honest. I
really wanted Santos as well. Santos is a guy that I kind of thought about having in the last round there, because also that would be another good pick along the lines of Chong.
Yeah, Santos as well. I was looking at one of my favourite tag teams, the Legion of Lords, Gideon Grey and Rishi Ghosh, but that would have been if somebody had taken Avalanche early. I would have gone for that. Spike Trevay, somebody who I would have quite liked, especially with the whole the way how international my roster is. I think Spike Trevay would have been quite an interesting person. He could have had some quite politically charged promos on the shows.
The Hunter brothers not being there is a surprise to me.
Yeah,
just because they are so good. But yeah,
I kind of went with I'm not getting tag teams this year. I specifically kind of avoided that. So I don't have any conventional team. I've got a couple of teams.
Well, they have
that
JFK, but
JFK and Brooks plus whoever he's tagging with.
Yeah,
I'll just tag him with Amari just for a swerve.
I left. So it was before, when I was sort of invited on very last minute, somebody said the chance of Pascal Spalter being drafted shot up remarkably. I mean, kind of because I was going for a bit of a television-based promotion. Spalter would be a great guy. He's very famous in Germany on television, so he would have been a good thing.
Okay, didn't actually know that.
Yeah, he's on he's on a few not reality shows, but actual. He's a shoot actor, should we say?
Okay.
I had James Drake's sort of question mark with the Gibson thing, in case I couldn't get any better tag teams. And I also had Tenqua written down. I watched a lot of Pro Wrestling Holland recently, and he's somebody who's kind of stood out. And I also had Ashley Dunn as well. Somebody who, if I'd got LJ Cleary, I probably would have gone for Ashley Dunn later on. But because I kind of like the idea of LJ Cleary and Ashley Dunn for some reason. But they're the sort of people I left on the board. The women's picks, I had nobody else apart from the ones I had, so I was kind of lucky.
I was kind of surprised Andrew didn't have more ICW guys, because there's quite a lot like BT Gunn, Stevie Boy, Chris Renfrew as well. There's quite a few of those boys who just didn't get done at all. So.
The ICW list was really long, and the more I looked at it, the more upsetting it looked. I had BT Gunn, but I couldn't work out what to do with him, and he's just reunited with Chris Renfrew, so that upset me. I I had Aspen Faith and Lewis Girvan, which originally were going to be my other tag team to face the Arrows of Hungary, but then I didn't really want to have to draft both of them, so I went for Mark Joffe. Yeah, and obviously the other ICW ones was the women, because they only use the same 3-4 women all the time, but they are 4 good women.
Yeah, Casey Owens really should have gone somewhere.
Oh yeah,
but
she's a big miss on the 20.
I think the only other person I left, and it would have been a very controversial pick, and I was going to go from near the end, was Lionheart. Purely because...
I think he may have got ripped for that one.
Purely because, and I'm probably the only person who actually did watch Shug's House Party, but his match with Jackie Polo, the storytelling in that was outstanding. But there's no one I had that I really would want him to see wrestle, or I felt could get personal enough to kind of generate that same kind of heat that Jackie Polo was able to do. But
yeah, if I see Lionheart on a card, I generally don't want to watch it.
Well, he's headlining the Hydro, so...
Yeah, I have no interest in that shit at all. ICW, I've completely lost interest in.
I've actually got a Kid Lycos. I know he's injured, but
yeah,
he has a lot of fans. You know,
he was penciled in certainly.
I was thinking about it, but then I've got like 2 different partners for Brooks already, so I kind of thought he's probably going to spend a lot of time on the shelf. So,
the tag team I actually had and I was considering last was Club Tropicana. If you
Yeah.
watched the recent OTT show, I mean, you can see what they're all about.
I mean, Toto's Africa does make a show better, just by itself.
That was a magnificent moment, actually. And then the other one, Jody Fleisch, I was considering just to take more than anything.
Yeah.
But other than that, pretty much everyone has mentioned the others, the Hunters. Actually, Michael May as well. There's another young Irish guy.
Yeah,
considering.
I was looking that over, and all the other young Irish guys and girls did get taken, apart from poor Michael May. What did he do wrong?
The only other person I had written down was MK McKinnon, but I've not seen enough of his stuff to be able to comment, like, genuinely whether I'd want him or not.
It would have been completely blind for me, yeah.
He's a bit out of shape at the moment. Like, I think he looked okay when I saw him on Friday last week, but I don't think he looks as sharp as he did before he got injured. Maybe, give it another year and we'll probably be looking at it going like, why didn't we draft MK McKinnon?
Oh, of course, and the other one was...
he could be the Bobby Guns.
The other one was Grado, obviously.
Yeah, Grado is always an iffy one, isn't he? But this time he didn't go.
Grado Trent 7 in a comedy main event.
I would have liked to have made room for Spike Trevay. I think he's one that we're going to look back at and think we probably should have had him.
Yeah, it was the kind of problem with people like Spike and lesser extent Deputy Dunn is they're quite strong characters, but if you've only got one of them on a show and nobody else is really on that same sort of wavelength, I don't think it would have really worked for my show anyway to have either of them, because it would have just been somebody interfering for the sake of it. Whereas I think if you'd gone for I think it possibly would have worked with Ollie's roster. I think it probably would have been a good place.
Got some comedy in there.
Would have been a good place to put either a Spike or a Deputy, and I think I would have definitely picked him instead of Marius at the bottom. But there we go. I'm good. Sorry, Marius, if you are listening. But
one thing I did notice, someone who has worked the majority of their matches here this year was Angelico.
Yes.
Yeah, he got taken last year actually, but we all sort of turned our noses up at it.
I would have stuck him and Angelico together and get them to face the Arrows of Hungary, because Phantasmo and Angelico have tagged in like Riptide and stuff, and I think that would have been really, really fun. Those 4.
Yeah, I think you could. It's a good shout. I mean, I had Angelico sort of written down as as it was going on, but it would have been having him for the sake of having him, and I'd rather have a Darren Kearney or a Sensivolto than Angelico for me personally.
So, any final thoughts on your roster or anyone else's, guys?
It's been a very interesting draft. It's strange to me that like the order that people were going in was not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit all over the place. It wasn't as like stock. If you get what I mean, it wasn't as like obvious as the last couple of years. It was a bit like, ooh, I don't know who the hell's going to get taken next.
Well, when I passed on Toni Storm in that first round of the women, I'm like, somebody else is going to pick her.
And then she came back round to you.
Yeah, back round to me. I was like, well, shit.
If she'd gone to the second round, as in the second block of the women's, I would have picked her definitely. But I think there's too much of a question mark over her for it to be a real viable pick.
And there were enough other good women you'd rather take before having that question mark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and obviously Walter going number one again, that just kind of shows his quality, going 2 years in a row at number one. But Jordan Devlin at number two, I'm very excited by. Obviously, he was like a mid-round pick last year, and he's shot way up. Bobby Guns as well, undrafted last year to third round this year.
As sort of out of curiosity, what was everybody's first pick?
Well, obviously Walter.
Well, obviously yours is Walter.
Yeah,
Walter.
I was going Devlin first, so.
Very good.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so it was between Walter and Devlin. I don't think there were any other guys who were going first. I think that just speaks to how good that OTT main event was, or how much it captured the imagination of people.
Yeah. I have to admit, I'd completely forgotten about Will Ospreay, because I was dead set on picking Thatcher for me. I thought that was I had that sort of written under your name as your number one. I think I thought I might have snuck through with Devlin because I thought somebody was taking Ilya first round, but
I was surprised by that.
Either Ilya or Pete Dunn, I think was going to go first round. So I was thinking, no, Devlin's a nice pick. But when Thatcher,
I always look at Ospreay as, even if you only get him for like 4 shows a year, he's going to deliver 4 absolute fucking bangers, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
There we go.
So everything else from here is in the hands of you, the listener. We'll have voting systems up on Voices of Wrestling forums once this is dropped, where you will get to eliminate one of us. You'll get to vote for who you like the least. I think that's how it goes. Or like who you like the most, and then the person who gets the least votes gets eliminated, and then we go to a final 4 Twitter vote. Again, this will all be revealed in due time by Rob, who will explain it far more thoroughly than me, because he's better at explaining things than me. But I hope you have enjoyed our Eurodraft. It's always one of the more special occasions we get to have the cool guests. So thank you, Lee, Andrew, and Mike, for your inputs. And let's see if any of you can become the first guest champion of the Eurodraft.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's been awesome to have all of you on.
I think last year's Eurodraft was, brilliant. It was kind of one of the first times I'd listened to, one of your guys' podcasts, and so it's, it was a bit of a dream to actually get on it finally. So delighted to be on.
I'm glad it all came together at the 11th hour theme, with Rob pulling out. But yeah, unfortunately, Rob won't be able to try and go for a second win, but Arn will be. So. There's a lot of storylines going into the voting, which may influence you. Arn going for a second, me going for a first after 2 attempts, and Andrew, Mike, and Lee all first timers trying to win it. And we will see who you vote for. Do any of you guys have anything to plug? I guess Andrew can go first, and then I'll go along the line on Mike and Lee.
Check out the weekly Impact column I do on Voices of Wrestling, and if you want to talk mediocre wrestling takes, follow me on Twitter, AMSinclair97.
Yeah, go Lee, sorry.
Hey, in order on the top, we've just been...
Sorry.
We just did the whole draft in the order along the top.
Respect the ordinance.
Thought you'd have got used to it by now. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Arnold Furious. My website is rearviewreviews.com. We're doing a month of Minoru Suzuki stuff. It's been good so far. Mike.
Sorry, Arn. Sorry for butting in. I'm at Mike Kilby on Twitter and everywhere else, so you can find me on there. And also, I run Eurograps.com, your home for all the very best in European professional wrestling. We have articles, reviews, and also we have a quite popular podcast which we're sort of getting through as well, which you can find on our Twitter page. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And just have a chat with me if you ever want to. And yeah, that's all.
For me, you can just follow me on Twitter at Malone_713, and pretty much anything I write goes up on voiceswrestling.com. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Excellent. And you can follow me at Another Oli and read my stuff on Voices of Wrestling when I put it up. And of course, listen to the BritWres Roundtable podcast. We'll be back for more stuff that isn't Eurodraft. But we hope that you've enjoyed the special episode. And we'll see you again next time. Goodbye.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
Ta-ra.